So good morning and welcome to another episode of the Perspective Clinic here at Tiger Valley Center. My name is Lester and this is in partnership with MTN and the founders of. Today we have Motsabi from Marketing by Her, and today we talk marketing, one of the broadest topics of the business functions, arguably one of the most important. But today we're going to get an insight into her experience, into her intake, and hopefully we as business owners can learn. So before we go into detail with regard to the meats and bones and skin and everything else, Motsabi, tell us a bit about you.
So who am I? A little bit about me. So I am a very proud Sothohan, right? I am a blessed entrepreneur in the marketing space, taking care of a business called Marketing by Her, which focuses mainly on marketing event businesses in particular, right? But I really feel that the gems I'm going to share today really go across all businesses because we're all trying to get to our market, right?
Oh, yeah.
And in my main job, which I do have because I wear multiple hats, I'm a go-to-market manager. Okay. And in being a go-to-market manager, I have quite a lot of expertise in terms of how to take a product to market and help it land with the people that it's supposed to land with. And
100%.
Their success.
Landing is the important thing. A lot of companies out there, they're throwing things in the air and they're thinking it's going to stick to the right person. But I think the skill that marketers need is to land that and get it into the right hands, into the right minds, and into the right eyeballs, whether it's on social media, whether it's on TV, all those sorts of things.
Correct.
Now, again, how did marketing get you to this point and how did it lead to the establishment of Marketing by Her?
Okay, so initially I did my marketing degree with UNISA, and this was literally, I think, 2018 or 2016, actually. And it has really evolved in such a big way. I went into the cell phone space.
Okay.
And in the cell phone space, I was literally in retail marketing side of things. So that is where I was bitten by the bug and I started getting into how to get products into a certain space, right? After that, I then moved into what they call this thing. I was a bit stuck in terms of corporate, right? And I needed an outlet in order to express myself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So when I needed to express myself, I started a business called Invitations by Her.
Okay.
And Invitations by Her was to literally plug a gap on traditional invitations. So invitations that have like Xhosa, Sotho, Zulu, aesthetics to them and not just the usual invitations that everybody would see. And that it actually included the songs and embodied our culture, right? Wow. And going into that, a lot of people would ask me pretty much where would I find a caterer? Where would I find this? You've done my invitation, now I need more.
Yeah.
And once that became an issue, I decided that, okay, clearly we need a directory. So I then started the traditional events directory.
Oh, wow.
And a traditional events directory exists in the space where I looked at my struggles of Invitations by Her and getting it out to customers, right? And I thought to myself, there's so many businesses that have beautiful jackets like the one I'm wearing right now. And
stunning, by the way.
Stunning. Thank you, T-Mac. Thank you very much. So it then went into the sense of where and how do we come together and have a platform where we can best show our businesses, right? And that's when I created the traditional events direction. I decided, let me use my expertise in the corporate space and use them in the eventing space for businesses just like my side hustle to get it out there and to push it out there. And that's how I got into Marketing by Her.
Got you.
Yeah.
So why the by her? I mean, if I had to start a competitor, or if I had to start a competitor business and started and called it by him, would there be an issue there?
Not at all. So I actually started it by her because initially I think this was something that we need to look at quite deeply as entrepreneurs, right? Is when I started my business, I didn't want to be the face of it.
Okay.
So Invitations by Her started and grew without anybody actually knowing it belongs to me. So everything that I posted was all about the business, nothing personal. All my social media platforms and everything did not even have my face on it. I think at the point where it had around 10,000 followers, I then said to my sisters, oh, by the way, here's my profile. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, this is what I've been busy with.
Oh, wow.
And it's all because we're shy, right? About putting ourselves out there. And I then had a marketing mentor who says to me that you cannot afford to not be the face of your business. You cannot afford to hide yourself because people do business with people, right? And at the point where you're saying that you're not growing from a business perspective, you're not growing heads because people don't know who you are. People don't know the story. People don't know the person. And you could unlock so much more by putting yourself out as a brand out there. And that's when I started putting myself out there and actually putting my pictures on the platform. But I still kept the by her.
Okay. Instead of by Motsabi.
By Motsabi, still by her, but I'm now the face of everything as Chief Marketing Officer of Marketing by Her. So that's how I introduce myself.
Some phenomenal insight over there. Thank you for that. Okay, cool. So I want to move on to another question over here. And one of the marketing fundamentals, or why would you say marketing is the fundamental skill for both startup businesses and for established enterprises?
Okay, so people need to know you exist. And people, unless they know you exist, they don't know to buy from you.
Yeah.
Right? Unless people know that they have a need for your product or you are solving a particular problem, right? They don't know and therefore they don't buy. So for me, marketing is a need because you need to shout it out. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and my favorite podcast is Diary of a CEO.
Okay.
And I listened to one of the spin-off podcasts where they were actually interviewing their marketing manager on how they grew the podcast. And it was literally reaching out to about 1,000 people per day and trying to get it out there that we exist. We are known, like this is what we do. So it's all about getting people to say, hey, I'm here. This is what I can do for you. And I say if Coke, as an established brand as it is still spending so much money on marketing, we still
billion a year
on marketing. You as a small entrepreneur cannot afford not to be spending anything or doing anything towards marketing.
Absolutely. Wow. Now, marketing is such a broad term and it's ever evolving. In your experience, what are the main pillars business owners need to understand when it comes to marketing?
The main pillars. Okay, cool. So firstly, I think it's your audience, right?
Yeah.
The one thing I think everybody gets very wrong is you cannot be everything to everybody. You need to niche down.
Yeah.
Right? You need to find who your people are. Find the problem that you're solving. Hence, I said to myself, I am solving for businesses in the event space. And anybody who is planning an event, that is where my focus is, right? And in that is understanding what goes into that, understanding the psyche of the people that are in that space. Which platforms do they work on? So the second thing is, after understanding niching down, is the platforms, right? Right now, we've reached a point where social media is the crux and the core of where marketing pretty much sits. Everybody's trying to get in front of somebody's cell phone because that's where we spend most of our screen time, right? We're no longer watching as much TV adverts as we used to because we skip Netflix, all of those things. It's not the focus. So we need to be getting into that short form content. But in that short form content, there is TikTok, there is Twitter, there is Facebook, there is YouTube. You need to find where your market is. And that means testing on all 4 of these platforms and see where does it stick. And then focus on that one that sticks best for you, because you can't be everywhere either. If you're on all of these platforms, pushing all of your energy across, you're diluting your efforts, right? So for me, it's understanding who your market is and understanding where they are consuming content. And if you can get those first 2 right, the third pillar would be creating content that is suitable for those people, right? So looking at which content, there's nothing new under the sun, guys. Like, go under and look at businesses that are similar to yours. Look at the profiles that are similar to yours and look at which ones are getting the highest likes, the highest interactions and so forth. Look at how that content was put together. And the best thing to do is put it into we now have AI, which is absolutely fabulous. Put it into AI and say, I like this person's content. How can I best adapt this into my concept to make my kind of content, right? But also still keep it original, because AI right now is diluting originality a bit. Take the ideas from AI, but still keep it authentic, still keep it original, right? Stop with the weird videos, stop with the weird posters. Make it your pictures and make it your work.
Phenomenal. So take that content and add a bit of Motsabi spice on there.
Correct.
And have that authenticity.
Correct.
Oh, phenomenal. I love the fact that you can take such a complex model and simplify it into practical steps that can be implementable almost immediately. Phenomenal. So you've been in marketing for about 10 years. What do you think is the biggest differences in the way marketing is done 10 years ago compared to today?
I think I touched a little bit on it earlier on, and marketing 10 years ago was, even 10 to 15 years ago, was very much above the line, out of home, billboards, magazines, newspapers, TV, right? It's now moved into social media. It's now moved into short form. It's now moved into informal. It's now moved into cheaper and more accessible to everybody. And I think that's where the opportunity for all entrepreneurs actually lies, because Google runs ads for as little as 50 Rand a day. You can run ads and get people to start seeing your content, driving leads, and so forth. And it's a lot more quantifiable these days as compared to what it was earlier on, because you would run your TV ads, right? And people would tell you 15,000 people watched Generations at this time and they saw your ad, but you're not sure if they went to the bathroom or not, right?
Correct.
Now, with the screen, you're now 100% sure. You can even see seconds and how many people interacted with your content, how long they interacted on your content, and what caught their eyes, what didn't catch their eyes, and what times they were interested in your content. So it's much cheaper. It's much more accessible. It's now in our hands, and it just needs to be studied, honed, and taken advantage of.
Absolutely. The problem with a lot of business owners is they don't interpret that information. They don't take that analytics and make well-informed decisions based on that. Most businesses, they see, I only got 15 likes. Let me boost it a little bit more. When they don't understand that the conversion of that 15 might be higher than some people with 15,000, you know?
Correct.
So tell us a bit about what you found in that space, especially around vanity metrics.
So followers does not mean purchasers, right? And buyers. Followers really does, you can have a profile that has 14,000 or 15,000 or 100,000 followers, but then you're just not generating income out of those. And then the people are liking your stuff, great, but are they actually purchasing? No, they're not, right? And that's one of the big things that I've found. Not necessarily everybody that likes your content is actually really buying your content. I also realized that from an Instagram perspective, a lot of people will not like your content. And then you think it actually fell flat. And then somebody calls you up and says, I saw you on Instagram. When you look at the person's profile, they never followed you. But they're watching. So people are always watching. So don't always go by the follows and the likes. Right? Go by it actually converting into money and bookings and so forth. And that's the true measure of whether your content is hitting home or not. Is if you're converting that into sales, into leads, into money.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things you mentioned earlier on, you said that you've studied marketing through UNISA. I studied a couple of years ago, and one of my subjects was marketing.
Yeah.
And social media marketing, for example, was one paragraph in the entire book. The rest of the book spoke about radio advertising, TV advertising, newspaper advertising, print media. And I remember a quote that said, it takes 10,000 hours to master finance, but it takes a lifetime to master marketing, and it's obsolete within a year.
Correct.
You know, because marketing is constantly changing and it's constantly evolving. So you made a comparison 10 years ago to now.
Yeah.
Where do you think marketing is going 10 years from now?
Where do I think marketing is going 10 years from now? Oh my gosh.
It's a tough question, huh?
Not really, actually. With AI coming in so hard, right? And so right now we've got a lot of media agencies and content creation agencies and so forth, right? Initially, in terms of getting up to this point, all of these agencies had a space, right?
Yeah.
I feel like marketing is going to be a lot more accessible, a lot more quicker, a lot more fast-paced than currency is because of AI coming into the space. There are now videos being created, like content videos and so forth, being created in TikToks, images being created where people had to hire photography crews to go take a lot of pictures and come back and say, here we go.
Yeah.
It's now becoming a lot more affordable. So I think in 10 years' time, marketing is going to be something that even a 13-year-old, 10-year-old can sit and literally run a marketing agency from their bed in the afternoon and assist companies that don't know what to do.
Sure. So that creates a lot of threat for some professionals like photographers and graphic designers, but it also creates opportunity for people that start evolving into that space.
Correct. But in any place where there's a threat, and in the podcast that I've also listened to in the past, originality also then becomes a lot more expensive and a lot more niche, and then it becomes a sellable option again.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
Absolutely.
So it all depends on where you put yourself.
Oh, yeah.
In that
authenticity has never been as expensive as it is now.
Correct.
You know, from time to time, we kind of get tired of the perfectly polished posters or the perfectly polished adverts, and sometimes you want a little bit of a spelling mistake. You want a little bit, exactly. People pay money to see bloopers, to see what is happening behind the scenes
because it's real,
exactly.
And they can relate to it.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. So, Motsabi, I'm going to ask you a question, and I think for a lot of the listeners that are listening, they might have a similar question as well. If I had to start a retail clothing store, what would my go-to marketing strategy be to start out?
Oh, that's funny enough, because I think the best person to answer that would be, but if I were to start a retail clothing store, right? My question is, maybe I'm going to deepen it, what kind of retail clothing store, but.
Let's say it's activewear for men.
Activewear for men.
Yeah.
So my first place where I would start is on YouTube.
Okay.
Right? And Google active wear for men, designers, and so forth, and literally listen to their stories. So when I launched Marketing by Her and I launched the app side of the business, I literally went down a rabbit hole of everything that can go wrong with an app. I listened to what happens to Airbnb. I listened to the story of Uber. It's not in the eventing space, but it's an app.
Yeah.
And it's what can happen when you launch these things. What is the timeline of launching things? What are the risks of launching such a thing? Where are the hotspots? What are the mistakes? Right? And the information is there. If you want to learn how to be happy, right? Go read books and listen to podcasts about being happy. If you want to learn how to be rich, there are podcasts, there are books about being rich. If you want to start a men's sportswear line, stores, there are podcasts.
Yeah.
Literally going into the female ones, going to Nike, going to Adidas, go wild, right? And within all of that, find where you then fit in before you start. But don't just start.
Yeah.
And always, I feel like, interview the people that have gone before you. Find the people within the market. Another place that's absolutely amazing to go on to is LinkedIn. Find the people on LinkedIn, and they're so willing to share.
Yeah.
And say, hi, I am looking at doing the following. Would you like to please weigh in? Here's what I'm thinking of. Da, 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 da. Can I have a coffee with you? People seldom take successful people out for coffee. Take that person out for coffee, have a session with them, and have a candid conversation of what can go wrong and what do I need to look out for and what do I need to plan for.
Okay.
Right? But most of the time, and this is from any business perspective, not just from starting a clothing line, people underestimate or overestimate what they can do in a year. They really overestimate it because starting up is the slow process. Yeah. But they underestimate what can happen in 10 years.
Oh,
people just need to stick with the process because at some point the breakthrough comes, and it won't necessarily come within that first 12 months.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to play a bit of a game with you. I'm going to ask you 4 short questions.
Okay, cool.
Right. And it's just yay or nay. Not yay or nay, but, option A or option B.
Okay.
So when it comes to reputability of the brand, social media or radio advertising?
Social media.
Okay. Short form or long form?
Short form.
Okay. A strong personal brand, a strong corporate brand.
Strong personal brand.
Okay. And the last one, Instagram or TikTok.
TikTok.
Okay. I'm not going to ask you to weigh in on those, because that itself is probably a whole podcast. Okay. So I'm going to ask 2 more questions. We're going to open it up to anyone in the audience that might have a question or two that they might want to ask you.
Okay.
So what are the biggest mistakes you see smaller businesses make when they start out when it comes to marketing?
Okay, so for me, it's some part of marketing. Remember, you said marketing is very broad, right? One of the main reasons I think most businesses fail is where they price themselves at when they start. A lot of people take themselves for granted. They're not quite sure. They don't quite know what their worth is, and therefore they price themselves below their worth. And they soon go under very quickly because it doesn't make financial sense, right? So pricing is for me, the very big thing, especially in a marketing perspective. They need to do that marketing research. And it's so easy to do it now through social media where you can literally run a Google form, quick survey to say, if I were to charge 1, 2, 3 for this, would you take it or wouldn't you take it? And start trying to get a sense of feedback from your potential market before you start. And second thing that also...
Before I get to the second one, I think that's such a good point because when people price, a lot of the time they price from trauma. A lot of the time they come from a place where they didn't have a lot growing up. They heard their parents read the prices in the newspaper and say, why are these things so expensive? And by the time you're a business owner and you need to relate your price, you end up saying, just give me a $500, even though what you're offering is worth $2,500. So I think that's such an important thing. And I think before people focus on the marketing component, they need to do a bit of introspection and ask themselves, are they in the right headspace? And that is also where that second point you made came in. Do the market research, put that feelers out there. What are people prepared to pay? So I think that's a phenomenal point. Yeah. Sorry. And you had wanted to add points.
Second point for me is systems, right? Marketing and running a business requires systems, and you will fall to the level of your systems, right? Once you get a customer in, you've now got to that customer in. But if you don't have a system to retain that customer, to return that customer, to service that customer, I think MTN does it very well. You sign up for a contract, you start getting the messages, you start getting the support, you start getting the offers. Unless you have those systems to manage the relationships that you have cultivated in the marketing process, you will fall to the level of your systems and you will keep on starting from scratch with new people and not getting to a point where you have return customers. And that's where businesses grow, at the point where they have return customers.
One of the things I've learned when I was in a different industry is you focus on acquisition, and that is where marketing comes in. Retention is where your customer services comes in. And then the one thing companies like McDonald's do phenomenally well is your growth strategy, your upsell or your cross-sell. So once you have them in as a customer,
keep them hooked.
100%. What else can you offer them? I'll give you an example. If you go to Debonaire's Pizza, one of my mentors owns a few of these franchises. When you go buy Debonaire's Pizza, they will never ask you, can I get you a cold drink with it? They will always ask, can I get you a Coke or a Fanta? So when the option is either yes or no, most of the time they'll go no. But when the option is A or B, they might go A or B, and that increases their sales quite a bit. Even when you do the online apps like Mr. Uber or Mr. D or Uber Eats, before you check out, they'll give you one more pop-up asking, would you like any of these items along with that, whether it's a cool drink, whether it's a dessert, or anything like that. So, Motsabi, thank you. I'm going to open it up to any questions that the audience might have. But before that, 3 laws to live by in marketing. Motsabi's 3 marketing laws. What would that be? And you probably mentioned some of them already, but just to conclude, just to drive it home, what would Motsabi's 3 laws in marketing be?
Scream about your business, right? Every day, every morning, make sure that at least 100 people know that you exist. Whether it be going on Facebook, wherever, and saying, hi, I exist. Scream about your business. Number 2, systems. You will fall to the level of your systems. Make sure that your systems are in place. And number 3, keep learning. Keep learning. Keep listening to those YouTube channels. Keep listening to other entrepreneurs. It may not even be in your space, but keep listening to entrepreneur level content, and you will get so many insights, and also you'll realize you're not alone, because entrepreneurship is such a lonely journey. And when you listen to these podcasts, you actually realize that we're all going through a lot.
Yeah.
And I can keep going because that person kept going, and that you might not know them personally, but keep listening, keep learning, keep getting that information into you.
Phenomenal. Motsabi, thank you so much. Are there any questions from the audience? Okay, Alicia, you have a question.
Good morning again. You spoke about TikTok being the number one social media at the moment. How many times do you think should someone post on TikTok?
Okay, so he said Instagram or TikTok, right? Between Instagram and TikTok, TikTok will convert sales for you more than what Instagram does, because Instagram is more of a lifestyle aspect of things, and TikTok is more of a, I am selling, I am getting my message out there, more of a platform, right? I find for my business in particular, Facebook is actually the best. That's where my particular market is. But it may not be where somebody else's particular market is. And that's why they need to first play around on all of the social media platforms to see where they're best getting traction, where they're growing the most, and then focus their efforts on that particular space.
Awesome. Any other questions?
Okay, I have a question for you. It has to deal with trust issues and fatigue.
Yes.
So with my business, we've been running since 2009, and we couldn't even get into stores. So that's when social media played a big part, and Facebook specifically. And even when I went on to MailChimp, we used to get a very good organic turnover because of the actual following we had built, which was real people who were interested in my products. So now you come to this day and age of digital marketing, and people are singing and dancing for attention on social media. Algorithms are turning your clients away from you, where now you're being told to pay for boosts, but you actually realize it's just you giving Facebook money. There's nothing actually coming out of it. So now comes the fatigue of it. We've tried the TikTok. We've tried, now we're doing tutorials. The time it takes to do the editing oneself and all of that, So I think my question is more about finding assistance, the right type of assistance, and then trusting that person, because then also comes where you might get an intern in, there's X amount to pay the intern to do the work, but they don't fully know what they're doing, and then people are calling you complaining. Or the other option of taking out a lot of money as a small business. You don't really have that money to invest in marketing and advertising. And sometimes you also still find that the sales per cent that you spend aren't the same. So just advice in terms of, as a small business, how do we take on interns? Should we go with the big corporates? And just balance it, because now I'm tired. I'm getting old. The kids are a lot. I can't be dancing on TikTok. Sorry.
So that's a very pertinent question, and that's, for me, goes to the loneliness of being an entrepreneur and how everybody's on this journey alone. And that's why I've created a platform like Marketing by Her, and working on creating a community of people where we can have these kind of conversations, right? So on one of my platforms, I've got a WhatsApp group where the guys are part of it. We've got something called Marketing Mondays where they get to tell us what they actually do, and get to tell the other people on the platform. I've seen people forming relationships on the platform to go, oh, I needed a DJ. Oh, I needed a supplier. Oh, I needed this and I needed that. And they're finding each other there. Today is Thursday. And on Thursday, we don't market ourselves. I open the platform for all the comments to say, what issues are you facing today? And whoever has the answer, can you please reply? Because it's a community. There's always somebody there with the answer, right? But because we deal with things in isolation, and we're not in a common space with common people who have the same problems as us, we then get into fatigue and we get tired and so forth, because we don't know where to get these answers and who to help us come out of these ruts and so forth. We could leverage all relationships, guys. There's a one to like a person is a person by other people. It's a proper thing. It takes a community. Entrepreneurship is a community. Whoever says they're self-made is lying because somebody bought the product.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Somebody supported you, somebody showed up. Like here she is, she's shown up for me to make sure that I look good today, right? We show up for each other, and that's where the fatigue and the support there comes in. We need communities
100%.
that need to be cultivated.
Oh, absolutely. I think we need more than community. We need countries, you know, we need ecosystems. We need all of these things that works harmoniously together for entrepreneurs to thrive, and in turn, entrepreneurs thrive communities as a result.
And the saddest part, and I think what she alluded to, is a lot of people in these communities that do exist in the entrepreneurial space want to deal with businesses that have already made it. They want to see have you reached however much gross or turnover over the last. And only then will they start helping you.
Yep.
And they're not realizing that the people that are still trying to get to 100,000 a year, 1 million a year, are the ones that actually need to be incubated, supported, because that's at the point where most dreams die.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Motsabi, thank you so much. Thank you to all the people in attendance. Thank you to the people that are listening. Thank you to MTN and the founders of. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Till then, goodbye and God bless.
Thank you.